Isodynamic.
These are the Isodynamic seats. Check this out. This is where your kids can sit back here and mess with your air pressure. I think it's a marketing gimmick. Our biggest debate we've had is I don't think this is going to be on the next generation of Tacoma. Sam, let's see if you can get in there and put your feet behind there. Yeah. You already don't get a lot of room in the regular Tacomas anyways. With the TRD Pro and these seats, you get 0 room. So now it's actually just a 2-seater.
Welcome back to Texas Truck Channel. I'm Sam.
I'm Craig.
And today we have the 2025 Tacoma TRD Pro. First things first, MSRP is $67,260. There's a lot of things you can get for $67,000. But anyways, you can see it's a mud bath. Let's all get a little closer to it. Y'all like the mud bath color?
Is that the name of the? Is that the actual name of the color?
Bath. Yeah, it's
I like it. Yeah,
bath.
look, I gave it a mud bath too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I
tried.
had to clean it up before. I had to get it nice and clean.
I don't know why it looked better before.
You gotta let the viewers know what they're looking at. Coming around to the front, you see, it lets you know it's a TRD Pro.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then we get a nice heritage Toyota grill, and you can see we have, with the Pros, we get a rigid light bar as well as 2 rigid fog lights.
And this thing is pretty bright at night. That is nice.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this is like you turn the brights on, you turn the light bar on, and like you see everything, right?
Yeah.
It's like the sun's in your face.
What do you think? Because you've seen 4Runners of late. You know, the 4Runner, we get this Fu Manchu here in the Taco. And the 4Runner, it's a little different.
I think it's a little better in the Tacoma, right? Because it doesn't have as long of a Fu Manchu, right? But I don't know. They all look good. They all look good.
Right. This episode is brought to you by Lasfit liners, because I want to show you the liners we've got inside the truck that Toyota gave you. And then we'll open these up real quick. Let me go grab the Toyota ones. Look, we got a nice little tread pattern. But here's the problem. Does that match that tire? No, you don't want that. So that's trash. Let's get the real ones over here. Here's what's in the box. There's no tread patterns because they know you might change your tires, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so unlike the Toyota one, this is what the factory gives you in the TRD Pro, again, $70,000, you get this. This is what Lasfit gives you. It covers the entire transmission tunnel and all the way to the side and to the edges. Oh, look at that. Sam, covers all the way to the edge. Yeah, show them that. It goes all the way to the edge. And then goes up underneath the seat where your feet would go, or your grubby, toddler would put a bunch of dirty feet, not with a Lasfit liner. Let's show them the passenger side one as well. Again, we got tread patterns, which are really weird. I don't know what's going on there. Let's get those out of here. We don't need that crap. All right, now, we got the Lasfit liner there. Look, we get coverage all the way up to the side. Goes all the way up underneath, almost to where the blower motor goes, and then to the edges, covers all the mud. It's just, compare that to the factory one. What an upgrade. And that's what we love about the Lasfit liners. I know we kind of joke about it, and we let them sponsor this video because it actually is better. And so that's why we like the Lasfit stuff. Lasfit also does the lighting along with some other things. They have some air compressors. They have a really lot of good stuff in there. Just go to their website and check it out. If you want to be sure to get you a discount, check out the promo code below. And now back to the rest of the interior.
Skid plate.
Yes, real skid plates.
TRD Pro on it. We get some nice red ARB recovery points. Let's come around to this side. You can see we do get some piano black
fenders.
Yeah,
fender flares.
Kind of fender flares. These
that is really glossy.
Yeah, these are going to get scratched up if you're doing some trail
Interesting
work.
choice for an off-road.
But on the Trail Hunter, they are flat black, so it's
and like on the TRD Off Road.
Yeah, well, there's a little. I don't know. Should just kept them flat black. I feel like.
Interesting choice.
Also, let you know TRD Pro.
Yes.
And then you see these nice wheels and tires, right? You get black.
Oh yeah.
Let you know also TRD, right? Yeah. So these are some Goodyear Wranglers, 265 70 18s. And then
good
you can
standard
see
size.
Back there, we get some nice red control arms that are going to be housing your QS3 Fox shocks that are adjustable over here in the front, Craig. If you look, we get some adjustments. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, get some adjustments. So if you're doing some baja.
What do you think about the shocks on the ride and drive?
Now, I will say, they do ride pretty good.
Okay.
And if you're doing some spirited driving and you hit some holes and you hit some bumps here and there, it does soak it up. So I will say kudos to Toyota for
them tires.
And Fox for the tires. I didn't really do too much dirt work, but Craig,
they're okay. They're okay. That's really it. Yeah.
And you see, we do get a nice slim rock slider that is not going to be a step. See, like there's no way you're stepping on this. You can't. You're hopping into this bad boy.
It's a real rock slider.
Yeah, it's a real rock slider.
It's actually there for protection, not looks.
Same around the back, and then you see anything special?
No, not really. Oh,
we get a little
on both sides. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Let's come back to this nice rear end. You see.
Oh, nice rear end.
The first thing you see.
Yes.
ARB bumper. You get your nice ARB recovery points on the side of each of them. And yeah, and then you can see here, it's iFORCEmax. Let's see how this puppy sounds. All right, Craig, what'd you think?
Double the tips, double the pleasure. Sounded pretty good.
Were there any pops and crackles, anything?
I mean, it's hard to rev it in park, but yeah, I mean, it sounds good.
Hey, when we were playing around with it in the parking lot earlier, it was getting some pops and crackles. Hey, not bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out this Powertrain. Oh, heavy hood. Let's see, I'm not tall enough to get this hood prop up. What are we working with? Where is it at? Right there. iFORCEmax, 4-cylinder, 2.4 with a hybrid powertrain, 8-speed automatic transmission, makes 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque.
465 pound-feet of torque? We've talked about this before on this channel. Are you buying that number?
I feel like you gotta be in tow mode, having something in the back to be able to get something close to 465. But we're not gonna talk about that because there's dyno videos out there and they kind of show you what's going on, but you do get TRD airbox.
Oh yes, that's got to add some power.
All that matters.
And red intake, yes.
There you go. Hey, you can hear some turbo noises with this thing, but.
And yeah, and before we get into interior, look, we're going to take it on a road test, and we also have a well, we'll throw it on the screen here. This text thread of us arguing about this vehicle right here generated a lot of comments between the three of us on the channel here, and well, it's
oh, I didn't notice.
The powertrain's interesting. We'll just say that.
Didn't notice this, but if you had a Trail Hunter, it's already cut out for snorkel. So maybe Trail Hunter snorkel on the TRD Pro. All right, let's check out the interior.
Okay. All right, let's check out the 2025 TRD Pro interior. Let's start out here in the back with the bed. It is automatic. That's good. Okay, nice. And let's see if it goes up automatically, Sam. Let's see. We pull it up. Oh, and it just goes up by itself. But Sam, better than that, you notice on your side, you pointed out earlier, I think there's even one on this side, on both sides. Interesting, because the Tundra, when it first came out, only had it on this side, not on that side. And then I think Toyota's like, oh, wait a minute, why don't we just put it on both sides? Tacoma, they did that. I bet we'll see that on the Tundra soon. Hit that button, and Bob's your uncle, it opens up. This actually works pretty good, I gotta say. I mean, right?
Yeah,
that's a really good feature, because the other features they have on trucks are like things like this, and just
it doesn't work.
Nothing ever works. So, but let's check out this nice bed. We got a nice composite bed, which doesn't rattle like the one in the Tundra, so that's nice. And because it's the iFORCEmax, Sam, we get the nothing in here. Okay, we got 12 volts and USB. Oh, there it is. It's over on that side. We get 2.4 kilowatts, hybrid power, kind of like a generator. And I will tell you, I've gone overlanding with that system on the Lexus LX, and it works. It does cycle on and off a lot because the battery's just not a big battery on these Toyota iFORCEmaxes. And that's fine, not a whole lot to complain about there. Let's get into the bed though, Sam, and let's check out what we've got. We've got nice tie downs up here, which are adjustable, and actually, look, this whole bed rail system works really good. And I like the lights. We got tie downs in the front. All right, let's check out the interior. We'll start with the door. Sam, don't have a padded door sill. That's a little annoying. We do have a padded armrest. This is a nice, look, just typical Tacoma door. You have a nice spot to put your phone. All the switchgear is nice in here. It does feel quality. And then you got plenty of spots for 3 water bottles. I do like that because that is really convenient for off-road. You just don't have enough room for water bottles anywhere when you're doing long adventures. I do like these seats themselves. I like this digital camo kind of hidden beneath the perforated leather or leather-like stuff. And I like the red stitching in the seat. That's pretty nice. I mean, that does look good. I got to give them credit there. You don't get a center folding armrest. That's kind of a unique. All the Tundras or Tacomas are like that. You can't get underneath the seat because there's no storage because it's an iFORCEmax or a hybrid. That's where the battery's actually at.
Yeah, you can see they have these vents on the side.
Yeah, they keep the battery cool. And look, I'm not saying it's a bad design, but that design does keep the battery out of the elements, out of the mud when you're off-roading. So Toyota did think about that. And one of the things Sam and I and Brian have had to remind each other the entire week of this truck is that Toyota designs hybrids in this application more for the quality, reliability, and durability than performance or economy, even though they brag about performance, and that's kind of annoying. So I'm pretty sure this thing will last a while and you probably won't have any issues with it. That said, let's get in and see what the problem is with these seats. Because look, you can see these, what do they call these? Isodynamic?
Isodynamic.
These are the Isodynamic seats. Check this out. This is where your kids can sit back here and mess with your air pressure. If they want it soft or firm, that sort of deal. You can actually air these up and adjust how much they compress or don't compress. Probably really cool if you're really going long distances at speed in the desert. I don't know how many people do that, Sam, but it does look cool.
And they do give you an air pump for this.
And they do give you an air pump for this. Look, I think it's a marketing gimmick. Our biggest debate we've had is I don't think this is going to be on the next generation Tacoma or the refresh when they do it, because I'm sitting behind myself. Well, actually, I'm sitting behind someone that would not be able to drive this car, and I've got room. This is actually how much room you actually have if I'm driving or Sam's driving. Let's see if you can get in there and put your feet behind there. Yeah. Right, we can just stop there. I'm not gonna make him do the rest of that. That's the problem with these seats. This has effectively become a 2-seat truck.
Yeah.
I mean, right, Sam?
Yeah, they should have just put a platform back here. I mean, anybody that's going to be using this is not going to have people back here. I mean, like,
yeah.
Come on, Toyota.
And that's the problem with this. And it's not just us. You can go on the forums. Everybody's going to say the same thing. You already don't get a lot of room in the regular Tacomas anyways. With the TRD Pro and these seats, you get 0 room. So now it's actually just a 2-seater, which is fine if you're going to buy it for that purpose. Who cares? You don't really care anyways. You're just going to put stuff back here, so it doesn't matter. And that said, you do get the nice cup holders back here, and you get the 2400 watts because it is the hybrid. So when you are converting to a 2-seater and you're going long distances to travel, you can plug something in, charge it, maybe a fridge or something like that. That is nice. But let's get to the front. All right, let's check out the front of the TRD Pro because it's not all bad. Let's check out the actual door sill. It is padded up top, and you do get the red stitching on that nice little liner. I like that. Of course, a padded armrest. Door pull has got the same texture that you have kind of throughout the truck, which is nice. And you get these MOLLE type panel things throughout the truck as well. Just like every other Tacoma we've had. Looks really cool and really effective. You did get some stuff on the side here. Some sort of secret message, possibly, we don't know. You open this bad boy up and, well, there's really nothing, but let us know what you put in there. And then you get all the switches. I do like that they give you all this pre-wired. You got auxiliary 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's how you control your light bar. And Toyota's just really good about giving you buttons and switches for everything you need. And they're actually fairly accessible, not a problem there. And because it's a TRD Pro, we get the metal pedals, which makes it go faster with that. Yeah, extra fast. Okay. And then these seats, look, these seats are cool. You get the TRD kind of, it's actually plastic. That's pretty cool in there with these nice digital camo insets. Really kind of a cool seat. Sam, comfort of the seat, what would you rank it?
It's a little tight.
A little tight? What do you mean by tight? So you mean like the bolster,
The
right?
bolsters are a little bit, they're a little tight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a 5'10", about 190. It's hugging me. It's really hugging me, and like you have the air, the heat or the AC or the heat on, and like all the air is just getting trapped in your back. Like it's not escaping. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, and that's fair. So I'm going to get in this bad boy. Look, because there's no footrest and there's a little bit of lift on this thing, and this seat is such a high bolster you have to get over. It is, and there's not a door pull on here. You have to like grab the steering wheel. Yep. And you get yourself up and over the hump. And look, we're not short, and it's kind of hard to get in this truck.
It is.
Our wives, our significant others definitely didn't like getting in and out of this thing, that's for sure. So something to be a factor there.
And then with the seats too, you also do lose the power seat on the back because you have the Isodynamic seats.
Good point, because you have to, there's actually a manual pull here to actually recline the seats, and that's kind of annoying and kind of a little bit of a letdown. You think with all that fancy tech in the seats, you would get,
well, and just for $70,000.
Well, for $70,000, you think you would get that, yeah. But I'll give them this though. The TRD Pro does give you the high noon marker, which is fun. You get the red power button, which is, makes it faster, and the red stripe on the shifter all makes it faster.
Carbon fiber?
Yes, that's got to be real carbon fiber. I'm sure of it. Surprisingly, let's start this up though. Let's show the people. But these gauges, look, they work. Everything's nice. You'll see this number right here, 17.2 miles per gallon. More on that on the ride and drive. We got some things to talk about there. But overall, I will just say this, Sam, this part here in the Tacoma and all the trim levels, I think is the best in the midsize.
Yeah.
This part here is the best because all your touch points are good and where they should be. You get actual buttons and physical,
exactly.
And all that stuff works really good. I wish the other competitors were as good as this. Our Ranger, I don't like this part in the Ranger as much as I do here. Unfortunately, I like about everything else in the Ranger better than this. But enough of that. Let's take it on the ride and drive, do 0 to 60. Let's see what 465 pound-feet of torque get us. Sam?
All right, so what are we're
in the TRD Pro.
TRD Pro.
How much horsepower?
Not enough.
Not enough? Supposedly 465 pound-feet of torque. This thing should be fast.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, well, let's see how fast
it is. All right, so let's see. So tow haul, we know that's the cheat code, right?
Okay, okay.
And then we're gonna traction control off.
Okay.
Let's see what we can do, maybe.
Toyota doesn't like it when you do that, so you gotta really make sure you really mean it.
And there you go.
Okay, now it's off. We've got everything off. Tow haul, too high. You think it's the fastest?
Yeah. I mean.
Let's hit it.
All right.
Okay, no wheel spin. Little surge. 40, 50, 60.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, now 9.15 seconds with me in the car.
Yeah,
Sam, that is not good.
Not good. I got 8.46.
But it is 95 degrees, so you
Yeah.
got 8.4. That, okay. Neither one of those numbers are good.
No.
It is really hot right now, and I'm making excuses for it, but now I'm done making excuses for it, Sam, because that's terrible. 465 pound-feet of torque, and they talk about how this hybrid, it feels, got some oomph, and it feels the power.
Yeah.
It doesn't on the 0 to 60 launches.
Yeah,
it's not there. I think it does on like you're on the trail and you're going from 5 to 20, or around town and you go from 10 to 30.
Yeah. The 0 to 30, I agree with you, right? Like,
But then
it kind of falls on its face, right?
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
But okay, but ride and drive.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
ride and drive. I mean, around
QS
town, these QS3s, they do ride really well. I mean,
you're right. It soaks up all the bumps.
It soaks up all the bumps. This is supposed to be a more Baja spec suspension, right? So a little bit faster. It's going to just absorb stuff like that anyways. But I don't know. I mean, it does ride pretty good. Also, too, can we go back to the powertrain? Getting 17 miles per gallon is not good.
Glad you said that, because look, I hypermiled one day to work.
Yeah.
I really tried to get the 24 combined mileage rating,
Yeah,
and I got 20.
They're pushing.
I got 20.
Maybe if the wind's at your back and you're going downhill, but
I don't know.
it's not there.
I don't know how they got that number.
No, yeah,
because
me neither.
you're right. We couldn't find it.
And that's the thing, though, is we're not ragging on it, like getting on it, like driving fast, right? Like,
Right.
we're just driving regular drive.
Yeah.
Even in eco mode, I could not squeeze more than 18 and a half.
It's very disappointing.
And especially, too, when you get an 18-gallon tank, you're limited to 200 to 220 miles.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, you're
range.
about 250, 300 absolute max.
Yeah. So, I mean, just in perspective, from Fort Worth to New Braunfels, that's all you get. A
Right.
2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And you have to fill up again.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
that is disappointing. It should just have a bigger tank. It should
Yeah.
have at least a 25-gallon tank.
But
24-gallon tank.
But if
something
you
like
go
that.
to the Ranger, though, the Ranger also has a 18-gallon tank, and you can get 350 to 400 miles out of that tank.
True. I will say this, that the Ranger gets better mileage, and Toyota has an extra idiot light in there, so like you can go almost 100 miles past that 250 number.
Yeah.
They're actually almost the same, but because Toyota gives you a warning so much earlier, it feels like it has no range.
Exactly, right.
But it is less than it should be.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Okay.
What do you think, Craig? How do you think it drives?
I think it drives great. Look, I took it on dirt roads at speed on my drive to work, 70, 80 miles an hour, and shocks are good.
They are.
I will say this, these seats, I could not tell the difference that they were absorbing impacts. From
Okay,
it.
so
Maybe I don't have them on the right setting.
I kind of tested them a little bit.
Okay.
When I looked at these seats, I don't know if they came from the factory that way, but this one in particular, driver's seat, was cranked up to an 85 psi.
Okay, that's high. So maybe
This
that's,
is a 100 psi max seat.
So
right?
maybe I need to crank that down.
I kind of bled it a little bit. I think it's in at 65 now, and I can kind of
notice
feel a little bit more. So
Okay.
I feel like you kind of need to keep it at
Okay,
a
that's
lower
probably
PSI.
easier.
So I mean, it makes sense though, because like if you
Heavier
have
person,
if you
lighter
have,
person.
Yeah, if you have anything cranked up, it's not gonna have any travel, right? And
Okay,
these seats
that's fair.
are an air over oil shock.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So you get lateral and front and back movement, right?
Okay.
Because if I sit here and I push on the seat, I can feel that it has
Okay,
some,
all right.
some travel. So I'm not gonna write it off there. I think maybe just you have to dial it in for whoever's sitting here, but we only get them for a week, and we have 3 different drivers rotating out of them, so it is kind of hard for us to put them to the test, and we don't get to off-road them like they should be.
And I'll let it say, I think the biggest thing in its own house it has the Trail Hunter is competing with.
Mm-hmm.
The Trail Hunter is a compelling option. I think this ride's better than the Trail Hunter, having driven both. But if you're really going to be at Baja blasting speeds, maybe this is the one you get if you don't care about passengers.
Yeah.
And you probably don't care in the Trail Hunter either about passengers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Last thing on this, I will say, because I think Toyota hybrids get a bad rap, especially in the trucks. The 3 of us on TTC have argued about it a lot this week. Toyota engineers have told us, look, we're not engineering this for miles per gallon or for performance, despite any marketing. When you talk to the engineer, you get the marketing out.
Yeah.
And so we've argued off screen. I wonder, because Toyota says, look, we're trying to save the ICE motor and the battery motor. Neither one have to work too hard ever.
Yeah.
And I will say this, driving around, I never felt either one strained because it's never pushed to its envelope edge, either one, which means you don't get the performance or the miles per gallon. But does that mean this thing lasts a really long time? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier, right? So like going back to the Prius generation, right? So those batteries didn't need to get replaced in what, 12, 15 years?
Yeah.
And now they're dirt cheap and you can get one. But
Yeah.
the thing is though, is like if these were to start going out and you had to go to the dealership, It is
Spend
going to
a lot
cost
of money.
money.
You spend a lot of money.
That's just the way anything is now, right? I mean, everything's
Sure.
more expensive, and I don't know. I don't fault it for that. It's just everything has a lifespan, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault it for that.
I'm just curious if this will have a longer lifespan than just the non-hybrid.
Yeah.
Because I don't
yeah.
know. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Time will tell. With that, thanks for watching. Be sure to let us know in the comments whether you think the hybrid's worth it or not.
Go watch our hill test that we're going to do on this soon, and yeah.
That's something I think it'll be great at.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, see you next time.